Hey there. I want to talk to the person who woke up today already feeling tired. Not because they didn't sleep, not because they worked too hard, but because anxiety was already waiting for them before the day even began. Maybe you know what that's like. Your eyes open, and before you've even gotten out of bed, your mind is already moving, thinking, predicting, preparing, searching for problems, searching for answers, trying to get ahead of things that haven't even happened yet. And by the time the day starts, it already feels like you've been carrying something heavy for hours. That's one of the difficult things about anxiety. A lot of people only see the outside of it. They see you going to work, replying to messages, showing up, functioning, but they don't always see the amount of energy it takes to do those things while your mind is running a completely different race underneath. The constant questioning, the overthinking, the replaying, the imagining, the effort it takes just to convince yourself that everything isn't about to fall apart. And on days when anxiety is particularly loud, even ordinary things can feel harder than they should. Making decisions, sending a message, having a conversation, waiting for a response, thinking about the future. Things that seem small to other people can feel incredibly heavy when your mind is already carrying so much. And sometimes that can make you frustrated with yourself. You wonder why you're reacting this way, why you can't just relax, why your brain won't leave certain thoughts alone, why something that looks simple from the outside feels so difficult on the inside. But I think one of the hardest parts of anxiety is how often it convinces people that they're failing. Failing because they're worried, failing because they're struggling, failing because they're not handling things the way they think they should, when in reality, many of them are carrying far more than anyone realizes, because anxiety is exhausting. Not dramatic, not attention-seeking, just exhausting. It's exhausting trying to prepare for every possibility. It's exhausting questioning your own thoughts. It's exhausting feeling responsible for preventing outcomes you can't actually control. And when you've been doing that for a long time, it's understandable that some days feel harder than others. That's why I want to say something that may sound simple. You do not have to win today. You do not have to conquer every anxious thought. You do not have to force yourself into perfect calm, because sometimes anxiety creates another layer of pressure. The pressure to stop being anxious, the pressure to fix it immediately, the pressure to get back to feeling normal as quickly as possible. And that pressure often becomes one more thing to carry. Maybe today isn't about winning. Maybe today is simply about being kind to yourself while anxiety is present. Recognizing that you're doing your best, recognizing that the effort counts even when nobody else can see it, recognizing that getting through the day while carrying a busy, worried mind still requires strength. Not dramatic strength, quiet strength, the kind that keeps showing up, the kind that keeps going, the kind that doesn't always feel brave while it's happening. So if anxiety feels like it's winning today, I hope you don't immediately turn that into a judgment about yourself, because a difficult day is not a permanent condition. A heavy day is not a permanent identity, and an anxious day is not proof that you're moving backwards. It is simply a day, one difficult day among many others. And tonight, maybe your only responsibility is this: to stop fighting yourself for having a hard time, to let yourself be human, to let yourself be tired if you're tired, and to remember that your worth has never depended on how calm, confident, or fearless you manage to be. You are still deserving of patience, still deserving of care, still deserving of gentleness, even on the days anxiety feels louder than everything else, especially on those days.